Wow, I haven't even said anything yet. I was going to start with one of my favorite honors jokes, but then I realized it probably wasn't appropriate for our crowd. And if you're ever on the honors staff, you understand. So I appreciate that you ran down that whole vitae, because I have been part of the honors project for over 20 years, 22 and a half I think is the exact number, and that's why I have all this gray hair. And that's why they asked me to talk a little bit about some of the past things that happened, and how every year, while it's the same, is different. So that's sort of the theme of this. Every year is the same, but it's different. So yes, I was at Carroll College in Waukesha, performing in Shattuck Auditorium. I was at Wurgler and Gantner Hall. I was in Green Bay in Widener Center, then University Theater, then in Widener Center, then somewhere, no, it's a long story. We gave concerts at the Allied Energy Center. I never had to do the stock pavilion, otherwise known as the Cow Palace, but the Allied Energy Center, First Methodist Church, Masonic Temple, Oscar Mayer Theater, Capitol Theater, Overture Hall. And as a part of that, I had the opportunity to work on behalf of thousands of students, parents, teachers, conductors, staff, and people. And I cannot tell you how thankful I am. I've hugged more people today than I think in my entire life. And it has been great. And hopefully we can get some more hugs later, because it's great to see all of you. The premise I always worked under and really tried to keep alive was this. It's process that leads to performance. As David mentioned, we have that little thing called a camp, which was a lot of fun, by the way. And that was where the process started. All these kids came together. Yes, the concerts were always amazing. They're supposed to be. They've practiced for 4 months. They better be amazing, right? With all these great kids. But that camp is where they got to get down in the mud with the conductor. The conductors sometimes were shocked by this. Some conductors who have done all states, we call ours honors, they do their all states, it's like, you mean they don't get the music ahead of time? Yes, but it's a great opportunity. We bring in these great section coaches. Really? And after about, the first rehearsal, after that, sort of that fear of, oh my God, are we going to make it? They realize how much fun it is to start from the beginning with the help of those section coaches. So that process is what it has always been about for me. Each year, over 400 students, 40 teachers, 5 or 6 conductors came together at camp, all meeting each other for the first time. And every time those conductors showed up, a different culture was growing. That's what it was about. I've been kind of listening to everybody's speeches and comments. Nobody's talked about the songs they played, really. They've talked about the experiences. I'd love to see Sue Waterski, but that's a whole other story. Those experiences they had. In fact, watching the orchestra tonight, they're going to probably remember they played Venus Scarab. They're going to remember a lot more of the percussionists dancing in the back. And that's that culture that's so exciting that comes out of this. But from that culture comes all this. You know, sitting in rehearsal, working in sectionals, I got to work in the office a lot. I got to see that culture develop. And yes, I learned a lot of musical tricks from all the conductors I got to see and be a part of. But I learned a lot of human tricks as well. And for all of those human tricks I learned from all of you, I want to say thank you, because they are awesome and some great opportunities. Now, with that said, came the camp concert. After all those wonderful rehearsals, remember those hour-long rehearsals that lasted like 5 hours? And then you got to go eat, and then come back to rehearsal, and then you got to go sleep, and then come back to rehearsal. It's a complete and total immersion. And then comes the camp concert. And the camp concerts are always good. You've been to them, they're always good. But then those kids go home. And nowadays, especially, it used to be you have to write letters to each other. Now the internet and email and all that kind of stuff, and they Twitter and all the other kinds of things that they do with these things. And these kids connect, and they form that culture. There are Facebook pages for the Honors Project, for God's sakes, for all the ensembles that are out there now. These kinds of cultures have built and built and built. And that's what's so exciting, because when they come to October, you see the result, not of their performance, you see the result of their process. And that was what was always important to me. Now, yes, there were some funny things that happened at camp, that happened to the culture. There's a couple I'd like to mention. Yes, there was a dorm fire. Not a dorm we were in, but on the inside of campus. I got about 6,000 phone calls that day. There was this mannequin that seemed to wander from studio arts up to the dorms, only in the staff dorms. I won't tell you her name, and she never ended up in my dorm because they knew. At that time, as the operations director, I was their connection to the outside world, so nobody ever messed with me at camp. And then when I became program director, they left it alone too, but that's okay. But I don't know how that mannequin got around. The staff dorm rooms were always those party rooms, we called them. We always had those fun rooms. We had a tornado warning once. Now, ironically enough, we were all in the Phoenix Club eating pizza, drinking soda, and playing table tennis, But while this was all happening, there was a tornado going by us. You know, kids didn't even know. They didn't care, but that was part of that culture. The water main break. Will, do you remember the water main break?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was out there talking to the engineers going, all right, I got, the whole thing's full of kids. I got to go to the bathroom now. What are we going to do about this? And they said, okay, go tell them to go to the bathroom quick, and then we're going to turn the water off. And then in the morning, we'll turn it on so they can take a shower. So water's pouring out, but the water can at least go to the building. And I'm like going, good plan. That's what we're going to do. All those culture things. Here's a good one. I lost 8 pounds this year. A stomach flu came to camp. Remember that one, Liz and Brenda? Oh, my Lord. That was a tough one. We even tended to lose conductors once in a while. I went over to one of our orchestra coordinators and I said, can I ask you a question? She goes, sure. I see the concertmaster, but where's the conductor? I don't know. Okay. All of a sudden, at that moment, the conductor rides by on his bicycle. And it's someone that Rick Kirby knows very, very well. You know what I'm talking about, Rick? Is he still here? I don't get ready. He drove by, and all of a sudden he came walking at the last minute, and we're all like, oh. He goes, I'm here, don't worry. Okay. We also had a conductor not even show up once. That was also a little scary. We had a little problem. He had signed the contract, obviously, a year ahead of time. Something had happened. So you see that all of these skills that we dealt with were all those kind of fun things, those social activities that we were part of. So that culture that developed at camp permeates the ensemble. The staff, the conductors, guide the ensemble as it grows together as a group. And that's what we get to see on stage tonight in October. And that's what we get to see tomorrow with the Jazz Ensemble in Conway as well. In October, when the group reconvenes, it is like bringing together family and friends. The group as a culture built the music together with the staff and conductor. This immersion at camp results in this concert. The process leads to the performance. Project participants then take this culture back home. That's the part that we got to talk about more. We always hear about that. We challenge the greatest students in the state of Wisconsin, and we do. But we tell them, what you learn here, take it home. So we've touched more than 14,000 students. We've touched hundreds of thousands of students and teachers, and that's the important part to remember. But here's the important part. Each year is different. Yeah, it's a little bit of a formula. You got a conductor, you got 40 staff, you get 400 kids together, and you have 5, 4, 3, 2, whatever, however many number of songs we had, whatever year it was. And we dealt with all that, but it was always different. I went to camp 23 times, and every camp was different. Not just the music was different, the culture was different. The kids built that culture. The conductors built that culture. One conductor brought in a pine cone and started a whole trend. One conductor conducted in his bare feet, started a whole trend. Those kinds of cultures are what's important. So while it's formulaic, it's not really formula. But even though it is that formula, there were 23 different repertoires, 23 different conductors that brought that to life, and that's the important part. The true benefit of the High School Honor Project for me is that it brings it all together and that kind of thing. And I guess in closing, the one thing I'd like to say that, the project is the canvas, music is the medium. We love music because music allows us to be ourselves. The camp is the process, the concert is the results, the growth of the people involved is the meaning, and sharing that growth with the others is the gift. And that's what I remember from the High School Honors Project as part of all of this. Thank you.